as you may know, there is a new Leverian card. It's for Lavos. And it's just going to talk about the Leverian, the history is here, how to open it up. There will be somewhere a Prex card in here that you can pick up, but we will get to that probably towards the end of the video after I have found it, if not somewhere along the way.
Lavos, the Transmuter, called by some anachronistically the Alchemist. Transmutation, you say? A superstitious process from long ago in which deranged old men heated stinking substances over fires of dung, thinking they could make gold? No. To the Orokin, it was a darkly potent, forbidden science. They were not squeamish, nor moral. So what profound taboos must this art have violated? No transmuter was more dreaded than Javi, the crawling serpent, the abhorred, the filth speaker. The Orokin feared him so greatly that they whispered he might somehow survive even the Jade Light, just as a severed snake was once believed to grow a new head. So instead, he was imprisoned that his evil might be contained, if not quenched. His jailer was a brute of a Warframe named Lavos.
Okay, so Lavos was a jailer of an alchemist. And I have to look every single time. I should do that before continuing, but never mind. It could be absolutely anywhere. That's the annoying part to me. They hide the things. But the game would kind of suck if they didn't. What is... this Lavos's serpents.
The prison of Dabaoth Kra no longer stands. Both it and the slumped Venusian mountain peak upon which it stood were long ago obliterated. We have only records to tell us what went on there. Javi was a scrawny, hairless man, scaly with skin disease. In reluctant recognition of his Archimedean status, he was permitted to wear the white robe, now a befouled, ragged garment. 2 tattooed serpents crawled up each bony arm from elbow to wrist. Lavos, we are told, was attentive to his prisoner. He administered the prescribed soup, water, and beatings with the same punctual fidelity. These are recreations of Lavos's own snakes. No mere tattoos, but living, bioferrous exoflesh.
Living snakes after Javi's tattoos. Okay, I don't think I really want to know. And then there is the Sandana. This is where you start to see the fluid and such from the Alchemist.
Observers at the prison reported that Javi was frequently whispering to Lavos. There was some concern among the wardens, but they dismissed the whispers as mere posturing. Javi's cell walls began to fill up with scrawlings, using blood and filth as ink. At first, these were simple symbols, but as time passed, they became more elaborate. It was as if the Archimedean was turning his cell into a demonic temple, baiting his captors. There was even an image of Lavos, resplendent in his Sayandana of office. Perhaps an attempt at a curse. Lavos was ordered to beat him harder, and duly did so. With the blood on the wall, Javi drew a snake, an appeal, no doubt, to his depraved idol. Floor washer Bekran Zaft, the sole survivor of Dabaoth Kra, would later tell of how Lavos would stride from cell to cell, weighty shotgun in hand, clubbing and beating as required. The nightmares still haunted her.
This doesn't look good for this frame, to be fair, because what this frame is basically doing is beating up prisoners. Of course, if I do pass the cards, somebody is going to mention the fact that I've done so, because I'm not really looking for it that well at all, to be fairly honest. This would be his alternate helmet.
The Warden's records reveal an increasing unease with Yavi's bizarre behavior. Regardless of the potential risk, they determined that he should be executed. After a fashion. They would use cellular reversal. Yavi would be reduced to a mere biological pulp with no more sentience than bread mold. But the executioner, no jailer wanted to be the pobber to bell that cavat. So Lavos received this ceremonial helm, along with the power to reconfigure organic matter. He could be their instrument. The walls, floor, and ceiling of the cell were, by now, overwritten with text. Lavos watched over Yavi continually. Bekran Zaft tells us that, curiously, Lavos no longer beat the prisoners in the other cells. Even when the inmates shoved one of their hated fellows into his path, expecting a bloody beatdown, Lavos merely waited for him to get back to his feet before moving on.
So he's basically gone from a crazed warden to not a crazed warden, and now he's kind of obsessed with Yavi. Okay. There is the transmutation probe. This is a landing craft decoration you get by... That's questionable. You gain an extra one by gifting Lavos to other people. You also should get one by building Lavos.
What actually was this forbidden practice of transmutation that terrified the Orokin so? At its pinnacle, it was nothing less than the purposeful elevation of consciousness. To the Orokin, prisoners of their endless golden dream, the thought that a person could rise above their station was anathema. Transmutation could turn commoners into kings, or riches into garbage. Worst of all, it could teach people not to be afraid. I have seen a preserved image of Yavi's cell. His scrawlings were not demonic sigils and barbarous texts, but star charts, evolutionary trees, genome structures. Yavi was not defying Lavos with these cryptic daubings in his own blood. He was enlightening him. Not dark sorcery at all, but radiant science. And the snake? A symbol not of corruption, but of healing. Yavi was a teacher. He might have taught millions. Now he had only one student. But that student was attentive.
And now you know why he stopped beating people. Because he was being taught what to do, how to do it. Oh, damn it, I thought I saw it there. I really do not want to go any further until I find this card. But we're not going to break the story here. Ah, the shotgun, the Cedo.
Bekran Zaft says this of Execution Day. The jailers gathered in the auditorium with a slow, funereal tread. Lavos escorted Yavi to the execution dais. He gently raised a hood over Yavi's head, cobra-like. He turned, then, to face the Orokin Warden, shotgun trembling in his mighty hands. The silence, Zaft says, was absolute. But then, from beneath the hood, came a whisper. Yavi had some final words for his student. The Orokin jailer shifted uncomfortably, looked to his functionaries. Would the execution even take place? Lavos gave a stiff bow to Yavi and activated his power. Yavi's skin peeled off in one grisly sloughing. He liquefied into a biological soup. A cheer went up from the assembled jailers. Lavos gathered the remains of Yavi tenderly in his hands. A soft glow emanated from them, as, in one horrible moment, Javi's Orokin oppressors realized what they beheld. And then, panic. Lavos was transmuting the remains. A twining, living snake seethed up Lavos's left arm. Javi, transformed, and still, after a fashion, alive, just as they had feared. A second snake coiled around his right arm, this one sprouting from Lavos's own flesh. Then, Lavos leapt into the midst of the assembly, hurling vials left and right, bathing the hapless, screaming jailers and functionaries and their warden in icy vitriol. Not one survived. Not for long, anyway. And Bekran Zaft? Lavos bowed to her and moved on.
And now you know what the snakes are for. Okay, that started taking a really, really gruesome approach and then changed very, very quickly. Did not expect any of that to become a thing. But lastly, of course, Lavos.
They say that Lavos often takes counsel from his serpents. One is his brutal advisor, the other his wise teacher. Both have their wisdom, and Javi still whispers to his beloved student. Much like the snake, Lavos is easy to misjudge. The serpents that poison can also cure. He may have been a monster in his previous life, but he was able to achieve something that eluded the most powerful of the Orokin. He changed. Moreover, he changed himself. Javi may have helped and instructed, but the will to change must have begun with Lavos. Perhaps we all have that golden gleam coiled within us somewhere, ready to slither forth from its old skin. We must only beware that we do not condemn as devilish that which we do not yet understand.
And you may take from this what you please. The lore of these always differs depending on how you look at it. Obviously the lore stays the same, it just, how you look at it differs. And I could go into each and every one of these and give expectations and what I think and everything else. Doesn't mean it's going to be anywhere near right. Going back and checking just to make sure I hadn't completely lost my mind on this one, it wasn't there to begin with, because the Prex card location for this is inside of that donation box right at the start. Of course, it's invisible, you can't see it until the frame is level 30. The frame was not level 30 when I went through it the first time. So if we head in now, let's use the marketplace way in. You don't have to actually use the codex to be able to see the Leverian. And we go in now that the frame is maxed. You should see it sticking out of... There it is! The Prex card sitting in the donation box. It's not about how much money you have to donate, the card not being there or anything else. You can only find these once your frame has actually reached level 30. Until you have the frame at level 30, these things won't spawn apparently. Not going to spend forever trying to mount these things properly, but there it is. The Prex card, and a lot of interesting story about how we got the snakes, and it's kind of gruesome but also at the same time not gruesome, but I am enjoying this frame way too much that I actually forgot to go back in and collect that card. I've already formatted them twice before I remembered, oh yes, I was looking for the location for the Prex card and just kind of never went back in. So I think we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.